Hey everyone, it's Chris at Service Autopilot. I want to talk today about to-dos and what you can do with to-dos inside of Service Autopilot. If you're not familiar with Service Autopilot and you're just learning about the system, to-dos are essentially non-billable tasks that any individual in the company could have to perform. And they cover a wide variety of topics. And so I wanted to give you 3 specific examples of how you can use to-dos and start using more of Service Autopilot. Start using that extra 10% that you haven't been using so far, and also to show folks that are taking a look at Service Autopilot this one other element. Most people look at Service Autopilot and say, okay, it's going to be a scheduling software, it's going to do my billing for me and my estimating. But this is really a huge element of the system as well. So let's dive into the system. The first example that I want to give is actually on the mobile application. So I've got my mobile app up here, and I've got this job for James Baldwin. So I'll click into the job, and let's assume that we're working this job. Maybe I'm an individual technician, maybe I've got a team with me. That doesn't really matter at this point. But this happens all the time. Let's say that James is at the house, he comes outside, I start chatting with him, and we start talking about the possibility of doing other services for him. Let's take a lawn care and landscaping example. Let's say that we're out and I'm just running my mowing crew. He comes out, we start looking at the landscaping. I tell him we also do enhancement work. We could do some seasonal color, we could work on your mulch beds or whatever. And he says, yeah, let's do that, but I don't think I'm quite ready to do it right now. Let's talk about it in 6 months when I can afford it. So traditionally what would happen in that case is maybe you write a note on a notepad, maybe you write it in the notepad app on your phone or your iPhone or whatever, and the problem with that is it almost always falls through the cracks. You have to back it up somewhere, you have to tell somebody else that you wrote it down, maybe you send a text message to somebody, and now you're relying on all of these human elements in order to remember that. With the Service Autopilot app and the to-do system, you can create a to-do for yourself right then and there to follow up with him in 6 months. So let's look at how to do that. I'm going to click the down arrow on the mobile app, and here we see where it says add a to-do. So I'm going to add that, and I'll put the details of this to-do in. I'm going to say call James to discuss seasonal color. Okay, I'll click done. We're going to set the type of the to-do to a schedule service. And then on the due date, I'm going to set it out to 6 months later. Let's just say that it's in November. We'll say November 10th. I'll click done. And then I can even set this on the calendar. So when I'm looking at my schedule, I can say this is due on this very specific day. For this example, I probably wouldn't do that. I would just leave it as a due date because you'll be working off of a master to-do list. So from here, I just click save at the top, and now I have a to-do. In 6 months, when I pull up my home screen in Service Autopilot, that to-do is going to be sitting there waiting for me to perform an action on it. So let's look at another example. For this, we're going to pull up the main system of Service Autopilot. So we're looking at our home page here. And let's go to our client list. We've done videos before on how you can market to your clients using this client list and setting specific filters and targeting specific groups. So let's say you had done that. Let's say that you had set up a filter for all of your clients in a certain zip code. We'll find postal code here. And let's just say that it was for these handful of zip codes. And we'll click search. It's going to come back and give me the results of that filter. Now, from here, I possibly could have performed an action, clicked marketing, and maybe I drafted up an email to them, or I even created a postcard. We've done other videos on this screen specifically. But what I want to focus on here is, let's say I had sent this to them, I fill it out, I click email, and it blasts it out to all 94 clients. What I can do from there is create a mass to-do for each individual employee, or each individual customer to follow up with them on that email that we sent. So here's how we do it. I check everybody off on my filtered list. I hover over Actions, and I can click Bulk Create. And for this case, we're going to add a to-do. Again, we'll set the type. Maybe I have one called Marketing or Follow-up or something like that. And here I'm going to say, Follow up with customer on email blast. I can assign it to a specific resource. I'm going to give it to myself. And again, I can set a due date. So let's say we're going to follow up a month after we send it. I'll follow up on June 7th, and I'm going to add the to-do. And it's going to go through and create 50 individual to-dos that I will see on my to-do list on June 7th. So let's take one other example. And this is, we'll call it a quality assurance visit, or you're just checking how your crews are doing. You're driving around looking at the properties that your crews are working on because you want to see if they're doing a good job. Well, what I can do is actually route that into my existing schedule. So what we'll do from here, I'm going to pull up my dispatch board, because this is where this really becomes active, this routing of to-dos. So we'll let it find the query of the jobs that I'm searching for here. And in fact, let's just go ahead and set this to a specific date. We'll set it to today and refresh. So it's going to come back, it's going to show me everything that we have going on this specific day. So from here, what I want to do is add a to-do. Let's say that I want to visit, we'll say Bill Booth's property here. And I'm just going to make sure that the crews have been doing a good job. So what I'll do is hover over my plus sign, add a to-do. I'm going to assign it to myself. We'll set a type, and we'll just choose other for this example. And I'm going to say visit the property to inspect quality of work. Okay. Now in the Details tab, I'm going to set this to a specific day, and that's going to be today. Now this is important. If you want to be able to route to-dos into your existing schedule, you have to set a specific date and a specific time. So whether you stick to that time or not, that's not really what's important, but this is the action that actually places the to-do on your dispatch board. So we'll leave it at the default of 8 a.m. And the last thing I want to do here is select the type. From here, I can choose which client specifically this to-do is related to. So now when I save, it's going to work, and we will refresh our dispatch board only looking at ourselves so we can really see this clearly. So we're going to filter down to only our schedule. And now we see this item for Bill Booth. On the dispatch board, all to-dos are highlighted in yellow so that they're called out for you. And now, just like any job, I can check them off, come to routing, and route my day. And it's going to take that to-do and optimize it in with the rest of the work that I'm doing that day, whether it's all to-dos or whether it's a mixture of jobs and to-dos. In this case, because I'm working with a one-time to-do, I'd probably just want to click Update Today's Route Only so it doesn't affect future weeks. So these were just 3 examples of how you can use to-dos in Service Autopilot. There are millions of others. The point is that you won't just be using Service Autopilot, or if you're currently using it, it's not just a scheduling program. It's not just an accounting program. It's not just a marketing program. But it can also handle your day-to-day task management. And it can start to create some accountability because you can actually check up on these things. If you're reviewing your to-do list or your employees' to-do list, you can see what's being done and what's not being done, and you can follow up on those items. So I hope this has been helpful. Once again, my name's Chris at Service Autopilot. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Continuously check out our blog. We're constantly putting great content up there. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.